So what's with the crying? I so wanted to ask you. No, because
what have I walked into?
no, basically, I'm বলি, honestly বলি, it's basically every time আমাকে কেউ তোমার কথা mention করতো, I had a talk with Estesham about it. You know, people being people. So, এত কিছু করলা, you did all this to get picked on by your crying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you cry, what's wrong with it? How do you deal with it? আমি ওটা আগে জানতে চাই.
How-
And then, how do you deal with all this criticism of you crying and whatnot?
I found it kind of amusing how uncomfortable people were with showing emotion or that expression of yourself. It is a very, very natural part of expressing yourself, and I didn't quite understand why, especially I'd say in Bangladesh, why it was made such a big deal of. So it's kind of funny.
Okay, let me tell you what's funny.
Okay.
I think it's not only funny, that shows how we are actually online. And
Okay.
which is, I think it's pathetic.
Okay.
Honestly think, just, all your achievements, all you did for yourself first, and then being a Bangladeshi, which you are. মানে আমাদের আমরা খুব মনে করি যে সব কিছু আমরা যারা বাংলাদেশি যাই করি মনে করি সব আমাদের দেশের জন্য I feel this is a little weird because all we do first is for ourselves. I sing for myself, so no one can tell me যে আপনি দেশের জন্য আপনি একজন দেশের শিল্পী এটা করেন. No, I sing for myself and then you make me a part of this. So I think it comes with a job responsibility. Now, the best part that I want to know from you, this whole journey, you have kids, you have Etisham. How did you manage? Because amader Bangladeshe, to leave all this behind and go camping for a show, for such a big production, how was it for you? I'm sure it was challenging, but I would like to know in more detail, like, how did you deal with it?
I think initially I went into it just so raw, and to tag on from the first question, that's what you saw. It was just literally my journey, my raw emotion, and my raw self. That's what it was. I have no previous background in media or television, and I think MasterChef Australia itself is the biggest food platform in the world. It's the most viewed television show in food across the world. And you go, hey, I really love this show. And it was actually my son, Mika, who was pestering me and being like, Ma, you should really fill this out. And so he really pushed for this to happen. And you don't really go, I'm going to end up on the other side of the TV screen. So I had zero expectations of all of this. Once you get in, it's just really surviving day by day, like in any situation. I had no idea of what was going to happen. So it was just getting through one day and then 1 week and adjusting to that.
So you had no idea যে তুমি ওখানে কতদিন থাকবা, how long it's going to go on for. What is that crucial moment যে তোমার মনে হলো যে okay, I might have something here? When did that hit you? The first thing you went there without any expectation. So what was the moment when you were like, oh, okay, we might have something here? What was that?
I don't know if I had that sort of aha moment, but what I found really, really exciting were the challenges itself. Like just when we were put in front of a cloche and we are sort of lifting that cloche for the first time, and we have these ingredients in front of us, and they're like, cook your best, blah, blah, blah. This is the challenge. I loved the challenges. I absolutely loved the part where you get to show who you are on a plate, but just that creative side of it. And something that it is that a lot of, the contestants and everyone from all of our sort of year levels talk about is there's no other place that you'll feel more alive and the pressure and the adrenaline of what happens in the MasterChef kitchen. So it was really just the whole game of it, and it's highly competitive and exciting, and I really, really loved being there in those cooks.
So if I'd like to say you fell in love with the whole process and the challenges of it.
Yeah, I think the whole production, and you would know being in media and being an artist, the whole production part of it, that whole TV and all of that was the bit I struggled with most. I'm not a TV person, I guess.
So, তোমাকে কি এভাবে কোনো direction দেওয়া হয়েছিল যে, you know, act certain way or no?
No, there's no acting.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying you're scripted. I'm just saying, you act a dish, serve korba, and did you guys have any idea what's gonna happen, or you guys had a hunch like that?
Generally, obviously, you're in the dark. We're sort of taken like to the studio, and then we all live in this apartment, blah blah blah. So we're kept in the dark as to what's happening the next day. We don't really know until that very moment, and I think that's the whole part of the TV show part of MasterChef, where they really want to keep it as real as possible. So yeah, we don't know what's happening, and we do try and find out what's happening, but they're very good, and they've done this for 13 or 14 years. So yeah, there is that element where we try and find out, but you just practice, you do your best. You have to know all your recipes off by heart. You have to be ready if it's, say, it's pastry week in the kitchen. You have to be ready for any challenge, because I think more than anything else, you set everything aside, and you don't want to embarrass yourself on national or international television.
I'm pretty much sure. So who's your biggest, fan of your food? Your kids or your husband or anyone that I don't know of?
Who's the biggest fan of my
your food? Yeah. Before the show?
Before the show?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, probably my kids.
Kids.
Yeah, probably my kids. Like when I cook for my husband, he cleans his plates, but I'm the wife that stands next to him and watches him like a hawk and goes, waiting for some reaction or some sort of feedback. Nothing. He just silently eats, and I'm the one who sits there, and I'll be like, "Bhalo hoise." Nothing. No feedback, but he enjoys my food. He loves my food, polishes everything off, no complaints, but also just no compliments.
Why?
Why?
The whole
Why?
Aussie land gave her all these compliments and you didn't?
I think we were having this
Extra critical about it.
critical. No, he's not critical. He's just also just like, this is good, I eat it. So he's very, very what is it? He's
Reactionless?
I think he just hasn't had bad food put in front of him yet. I might try it.
So when did you realize that, when you started all this, যখন তুমি গেলা competition, when did you realize that this is getting, it's getting big for you? For you, big, I meant everyone's recognizing you. আমাদের এখানে দেশে, তোমার দেশে, বাংলাদেশে, everyone's talking about you. When did you realize all of it?
Oh, so we were when it started airing, we were sort of really in the thick of the competition, and we were sort of heading to the pointy end, and things were getting really serious and really competitive. It's about the time where production starts locking down, and apart from Bangladeshi media, obviously the Australian media, and I think there was always a pap standing outside. We had, you get picked up by the Daily Telegraph UK and all of these sort of people who are trying to find out who the top 6 contestants are, or who made it to the top 10. Yeah, I think we get glimpses of that, and it was at one point I just had people sort of flooding in, calling our house, calling my husband, or everyone was sort of trying to get this connection. But yeah, we were in the thick of it, so for me it was just blinkers on, and I had to really block all of that out, and I had just there's no time to think about what's happening on the outside world when you're sort of facing some of the biggest challenges of your life. So it's like you need to really push that all aside. I think when I came out of MasterChef though, the media buzz was quite overwhelming, and so then I think again in the last few days that I've been here, from the moment I landed, it also again feels like that time when I got off MasterChef and sort of had to leave Melbourne for a little while. I was staying at our farmhouse just to lay low a little bit.
Okay. But let me tell you why this is a big deal. Because no one has ever done it so far that I know of. I'm pretty much sure. And you did it in that large scale. So, we are like, the whole media and everything, they're going crazy over it. But here is the thing. Every time you made a dish, you tried to, put your thoughts into আমাদের দেশের most of the food, right? তোমার দেশের বাড়ি কোথায়?
আমার দেশের বাড়ি, so my Abu is from Koilal, which is Bikrampur.
Okay.
Are you from Bikrampur?
Yeah. I am, yeah.
So you wouldn't have asked me the first question if you knew that, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be kinder to me for the rest of the interview.
I will be super kind right now to you. So, Bikram, and your mom?
My mom is from Bardhaman in Kolkata. Oh, not really in Kolkata, but India.
Acha, India. So,
Yeah.
wow, that's quite a combo. Wow. Food must have been amazing then in your house.
Food is amazing in my house. And I think, well, since we're talking about things that I found out after MasterChef, was again that huge media debate about where I'm from, who's claiming me.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because obviously there's MasterChef. Australia is really big in India, as it is in a lot of different countries. But I think that part was very confusing or jarring on a very nationalistic level in Bangladesh of, oh, is she Indian or is she Bangladeshi? And that whole idea of claiming someone. The truth is, I was born and brought up in Australia and I'm a Bengali. This is authentically the food in my house, whether it comes from this side of the border or that side of the border. That is what it is. And like you were saying with your music and singing, you sing for yourself. So I was very authentically representing myself.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that resonated, I'm pretty much sure. Because all of your dishes was like, আমি তো এটা খাইছি. Everyone can relate. What's, to me, যতগুলো dish বানাইছো, I think Farisa has the note. Correct me if I'm wrong, you did panta bhat with aloo bharta with fried sardines, right? Okay. And then after dinner, mint. Is it the ice cream sort of mint?
Yeah,
Yep. Then kashi rezala. It was a staple at time at biye barite. Goat nihari. Bhapa mach. Is it like bhapa pita?
No. Bhapa mach is basically like, I guess, paturi.
Paturi, yeah.
But paturi would be like you actually wrap it in vine leaves, but papa meaning steam.
Yeah.
This was steamed fish because I didn't actually wrap it like we do with papa mach. And you have to make what you have in front of you within the time constraints. And then, name it something appropriate.
Acha, now that we've seen camera shamne, how did they react to the food? What was because you were there, I'm not to screen it to see their reaction. What was your reaction to their reaction? They find this so delicious. তুমি কখনো ভাবছিলা যে আমাদের দেশে খাওয়া ওদের এরকম ভালো লাগে? Because আমি all the time, আমি যখন বিদেশে যাই বা এরকম সাদারা যখন বা এরকম বিদেশিরা যখন আমাদের খাওয়ায়, the first thing they say, it's very spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, আমাদের এখানে খাওয়া is very spicy. So what was your reactions to their reaction?
I guess you are very it's huge. I didn't expect them to dislike the food, but I also, again, the high praise that I received, like some of the comments, I think in my very first dish, I think the high praise really, really caught me off guard. And you can see that in my reaction in my face. You could see. I was just like, I was just like, what? And not because like, oh, you're trying a Bengali dish and I didn't realize you. No, it wasn't that. It was just the level of praise. Everyone, receives compliments and everyone gets good feedback. You get bad feedback on some days. You can have a good or bad day in 7 months. That is obviously what's going to happen. But I think that some of the things that were being said, some of the comments that were being passed around in the room from people who are my culinary idols, Jock's on Frillo tried my dish and he said, that is one of the best things I've eaten all year. That's when you go, wait, hang on a second, double take. Like little things like that, I think, really. And then you have these amazing, absolute culinary stars, like the who's who of the Australian and then the international food industry. Just, you're talking to people who you never think you'd ever have an audience with, like Yotam Ottolenghi, Josh and Ireland, and Curtis Stone. Mm-hmm. So, like, when you have all these international sort of food idols who you never think you'd ever have an audience with in the same room as you or talking to you or interacting with you, you do a double take. It's huge. Mm. How could you not be moved by that?
I'm pretty much sure if I was in a position, I would be like the same, like, what? Is this really happening?
Yeah.
They do really like my food?
I know. There were times where I was like, are you sure?
Yeah, I know. Like,
I can do better. Like that was that. So I think, okay, a behind the scenes sort of thing. There was a dish, and TV is long, right? There's that takedown, the food shot, the hero shot, yada yada yada, the clean down. Like it's a long day, and then you go up, you present your dish, and then they do that sort of hero shot. And as they do that, the judges sort of take back, the cameras roll in, yada yada yada, and you're standing there. You know where we get the judgment, and there's the judges table, and then Mel and Jock were sort of there, and I turn around and I'm like, so this is, and they're like, we were talking about the dish, and I think that day I had done cow sway. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is my 60-minute version, and Mel was talking about cow soy, which is sort of from her region, and blah, 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 and we're talking about Myanmar and Burma and food regions and Bangladesh and borders, yada, yada, yada. And then when she went up and they tasted the food and they were speaking about it, something that they did there, she goes, if this is your 60-minute version, because I would always apologize for my dish. I'd be like, you know what, this is meant to be stewed for 3 hours, but I did this in a pressure cooker. So if I were to make it at home, it would be, I'm always explaining that this is what I've done with the time constraint, I guess. And so she got up and she said, if this is what you've done in 60 minutes, I don't know what you'd be cooking at home. So it's little things like that, I guess, that are like the real part of it as well. Like, yes, it's a TV show, but you are interacting. People are eating your food. It is very, very real. Yeah.
So what happens once you decide, who takes control of it? Bashay.
And Bashay. Yeah. Uber Eats, like.
Uber Eats. So at the time doesn't help.
No, we're easy. I think cooking for me, I will always say this, cooking for me is a privilege. I'm very lucky that I cook from a place of pleasure. I enjoy it. I come home from work, and when I'm cooking, that's my happy place. So it's something I do to de-stress. I never approach cooking like it's a chore or I have to cook to feed my kids, because that's frustrating. So I do give myself those days off, and I do make simple dishes. Not everything I plate is like this 7-element. I'm not trying to impress anyone. Yeah, good food is good food. Like ramen is good food. You dress it up, and there is nothing wrong with taking a break from cooking. Yeah.
So ebar jokhon Bangladesh ashla, what is the first thing that you had? You landed on the first thing that you
thing I had. So I landed pretty late at night. Next morning, went to Shoshubari, had this absolutely amazing nashta. So my shashuri made chaler atta ruti, murgir mangsho, and then something that I really absolutely love is it's freshly grated narkel, because my shashur is from the south, so they eat a lot more narkel and gur.
Right.
So really delicious. But there was also the flour from the coconut as well. Do you know the inside the narkel you have the
narkeler moida ba narkeler atta, something like
no,
that?
No. Narkeler bhitore. So you have the coconut water, then you have the coconut. Inside the coconut, inside some coconuts, you actually have a flour, which is like this sponge. Check out my
probably.
No, shash is dabur shash. Check out my Instagram at Kishwar Chowdhury. Just saying.
I will.
I posted about it.
Okay. Cool. So you had that.
I did, and I really, really love that. It's a rare thing to find. My shoshur absolutely loves that, and it's an absolute treat. It's like this natural flour that's inside a coconut, and we split it in half. My shoshu ate half, and I ate half. So I had a good day.
So, এরকম কখনো হয়েছে, have you ever like corrected or have you ever suggested anything to your shashuri like this could be done a little differently?
No, no. My shashuri is a fantastic cook. My parents are fantastic cooks. So no, absolutely not. When people put good food in front of me, there's just nothing left to say. So it hasn't happened so far.
So what's your favorite food from the part, like, you know, Bikrampur?
From Bikrampur, oh well, Bikrampur is very famous for their lao. You know, the whole chadar lao thing. So yeah,
So
lao. The little cucumbers as well, kira.
Kira.
So I have this food memory of, because it's a bit of a low plain and it's got a high, I guess, water table in that area. So you have all those very high water content vegetables, so lao, kira, and this and that. So I really like all the fresh vegetables from that area. But my dadi was obviously, like everybody's dadi or mother, was a fantastic cook, but she was someone who actually held the whole house together. And when we used to visit our village, so we live in Dhaka, but we would always go back Desher Barite for 1 or 2 days, and my dadi would go there a day or two beforehand. And I just remember when we were young, Abbu Chachara shikar korte jeto. They used to so they used to hunt for duck or other things, and then my dadi would be up like before dawn and start prepping food, but not just for our family, but the extended family and everyone. And we have our house, but then we have our sort of cooking area, which is sort of separate from the house, and it's like in an atrium. And she used to wake up really, really early in the morning and start making pitas. And this is all in winter, because we used to visit during Christmas, which was the winter break. And also khejure rosh. Yeah. So those very early food memories, desher barite, I think things that we don't find in Australia, boroi, kamranga.
How about pitas in Bikrampur?
Yeah, pitas are obviously amazing. I'm not a sweet tooth.
You're not?
No, I'm not a sweet tooth at all. So it's a little bit wasted on me. But yeah, absolutely. I love the smell of sort of the smoky, gurer pita, especially because pitas, when they're making, desher barite jeta banai, it's always matir chulate. Ba matir harite, matir chulate. So it has a completely different flavor profile. It smells different. It's very, very, appetizing, because you've got that smokiness, earthiness running through most of the food there.
I'm a big on pita, especially আমাদের দেশে, মানে বিক্রমপুরের pita, because it's mostly
Gurer, bhapa pita.
Bhapa pita, I'm a sucker for bhapa pita.
Okay.
And there's
I like
chitoy.
I like chitoy pita a little bit more.
Have you ever had pati shapta pita?
Yeah, absolutely.
বিদেশের নাম মনে হয় crepe.
Malai crepe.
Malai crepe. Yeah.
Why not? Give it a good name.
Yeah, Malai crepe. Yeah, it has a zing to it. Yep. So, এখন বাংলাদেশে আসার পর, how things for you here? I'm pretty much sure this is not your first time in Bangladesh, right?
As in this? Oh, since the lockdown, yeah.
Since the lockdown, is the first time?
This is the first time since lockdown.
Then it must have been really weirdly beautiful for you.
Yeah, well,
right?
I guess you come back. It's like riding a bike, right? Like straight away, you're like, oh my gosh, there's this place and this lane, and also coming back to the house, and it is weirdly beautiful. But I haven't had a chance to really do the things that
wanted to do.
Well, no, do the things that make this city mine. I came and I lived here for a little while, and I think I had a really, really fantastic time, and I really made this city mine, not just the friends and the places or whatever, but just doing little things. My husband and I, we always take rickshaw rides, and going and having chotpoti and fuchka, and just those little things that you do that I love about this city. I've missed this time, and there is that element of coming back for the first time since MasterChef as well has meant that, you miss out on the late night coffees or things that you were doing more freely. So, yeah.
So is there people like they're recognizing you wherever you're going, or what are you actually doing here? Like এখন এখানে এসে I've heard like you're pretty busy. What are you busy with?
So I came out here for Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation, which is a foundation that promotes Bangladeshi artists and artisans, I guess, but they, supporting the culinary arts as well. But it's to really brand Bangladesh, to look at Bangladesh in a context. Like for me, it was through the culinary arts, and to really take Bangladeshi food, but also ingredients, and take that to a level that's, I guess, fine dining, and to re-envision that. Something that I speak about a lot as well is not just overseas, but even here, people sometimes when we're talking about dish, we often just sort of focus on sometimes the negative side, or that it's a poor country, or there's all this sort of connotation around it. But the truth is that there is so much there's just so much heritage and so much culture, and there's just so much that we have naturally in this place. Like if you think about the region of the Bay of Bengal itself, like for me, because I'm in food, just if you think about the produce that's grown in this area, we have the bay. If you think of everything from the seafood, they're really prized, I guess, ingredients when you take it out of a Bangladesh context. People use winter melon in Japan. People are looking for these beautiful, sweet lobsters and tiger prawns, the pomfret that we have, and just even starfruit. When I put this starfruit dish that I have on my menu in Australia, do you know how much it costs to make that dish? Yet when I'm cooking here, when I curated this event with Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation,
It cost you.
well, it wasn't just the cost, but it was also really funny that the event was at Prego at the West Inn. So it was really funny. I took a little video of the chefs and Lao Chilchilo. And I'm like, have you ever seen Lao in this kitchen before? And they're like, 15 বছরে এখানে ওয়েস্টিনে 15 বছরে আমরা কোনোদিন ওয়েস্টিনে লাউ দেখি নাই. So this was the first time that things like betel leaf, so pan, lao, kamranga were entering West Indies kitchens.
এগুলো কি ব্যান্ড ছিল নাকি ওয়েস্ট ইন্ডিজে?
Well, I guess it's not considered refined, or it's not it's not
rich man's food.
Well, yeah, isn't that what it is? But if you, but I think also the other thing about that whole MasterChef journey is that why aren't we celebrating the best of what we are? Why aren't we celebrating what's ours and owning ours and taking that to a global platform? Why, as a MasterChef, and yeah, you do get that sort of feedback. Why would you celebrate me more if I was making, French dishes or doing someone else's cuisine? Well, that is I think for some people that was the expectations, where you'd get comments like, পান্তা ভাত আলু ভর্তা করে এটা করে করছে, look at so and so, they think that because you're cooking something that represents you, or something that's, I guess, তাদের জন্য dal bhat in a way, or ghar ka murgi dal barabar type of thing, they think that there isn't a place for that in fine dining, and that's what I wanted to redefine.
Wow, you did more than that, actually. I'm gonna ask you about like 4 foods that are not actually any cuisine or anything. Do you like chips?
What chips?
Just like processed Lay's, say for an example.
I like Doritos.
Doritos.
Yeah.
Okay, Doritos is not. It's crisp. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
What about do you like instant noodles?
Yes. Oh, so I live on instant noodles. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I eat noodles. Like, I could eat it 3 times a day, but I need to eat it once. Like, I live on noodles.
So this is like you have to have it at least once.
Well, I'm a noodle connoisseur. Like, absolutely. I'm a packet noodle connoisseur. No, I'm also... I love ramen and udon and anything soupy in a bowl I absolutely love. But noodles is a must, yes.
All right. So, what about biryani?
Yeah, I like kachi. I like chicken biryani, but I like kachi. Who doesn't like beer kachi?
Okay. Have you ever tried noodles or biryani?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
No.
I think you should give it a try.
Like a fusion of the two?
Yeah,
Not a
it's-
very big fusion person.
It's very big in our country.
Okay.
It's actually.
I feel like
wide-
that would be stepping in some other cook's territories if I
It's
start.
widely celebrated. Trust me on this.
No, I believe so. I believe some people have made a living out of, putting noodles in
Noodles in-
everything. I just like the pure form of noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was just thinking, since you like noodles a lot.
Yeah,
why
I do.
not?
I do like noodles a lot, but I don't need to put it in every dish. I just like noodles.
I think that's the sane way to go about it.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So, Kishwar, take the chef out of yourself. Who are you?
A mum.
Oh, great answer. Great answer. A mom. Okay. And what would you do for your, living, to provide or whatever?
Yeah.
For yourself, what would you do if you were not a chef?
I had a living that provided for myself before MasterChef. I was in printing and packaging.
So you're not doing that anymore.
Well, I haven't really had time to go back to that anymore. It was always part of the family business, and we still own that. But this is what I do full time now.
So this is your passion. So and it's the best feeling. I feel like this is the best feeling if you can turn your passion to your living.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're at a point, whether, and I love my life in print and packaging or whatever it is and design. And same with this. When you can do something that you would do if you were not even getting paid to do it, and if you happen to just, make a living out of it, then goal. Tick.
Great. It's absolutely right on. So you're born in Australia. What part? Sydney?
Melbourne. I'm from Melbourne.
All right,
Yeah.
Melbourne. So you're born there, brought up there. And when was the first time in Bangladesh? For the first time? What age?
I don't remember. Probably ever since we were babies. We always came back to Bangladesh. So,
Okay, so it
yeah.
was an on and off thing always.
No, so I was born and brought up in Melbourne, but my grandparents, so my dada dadi lived here. So we would always go to India to see my mum's extended family. My nana nani and my mum's side of the family are all settled in Australia, but my dada dadi were in Bangladesh, and my parents always brought us back. We would spend Christmas and I guess winter holiday here. So we সব সময় বছরে একবার তো আসতামই.
It's great, no, because আমার always একটা misconception ছিল, যারা বাইরে born and brought up হয়, they always forget their heritage. And everything.
Yeah, I faced those questions. They were so fun
did,
to
right?
answer. Yeah. It's really wonderful when someone, jumps through hoops to get an interview with you this is straight out of MasterChef, and they're jumping through all these sort of hoops to get that coveted interview with you, and they're like, apni bideshe thekeo kiভাবে এত ভালো থাকলে ভালো, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, was I meant to be a horrible awful person, like আমরা কি ভাত খাই না নাকি, like come on, like what do you think we do, we just run off and
There's this picture যেটা হচ্ছে
it's
আমাদের
awful. It's an awful question.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
very pointedly
আমাদের
awful
এখানে
question.
আমাদের এখানে every cousin or every or friends যে দেখা হয়, they kind of they love the fact that they're out of this country,
Right.
and they don't have any sort of affiliation, and
Amazing.
when they come
Good for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why everyone asks me, wow, you're such a good person.
Really, I think I've met people who have been
Me too.
born and brought up in Dhaka, and you can go to America for 3 weeks and come back with an accent. So I don't think it's about ekhane thakcho ba bideshe thakcho. If you want to act like you disassociate with your culture, you can do that anyway. You can do that in Gulshan. Come on.
You can do that by living in Bolani, Gulshan,
You can,
Dhanmondi,
yeah, exactly. I don't think you need to be born and brought up in some privileged place in the world to have that attitude.
But here's the thing. I always thought in my life, people are like, jara okhane jai. They come back with this kind of accent. America also. They go there exactly for a week, and they go like, so how's it like here? So এই জন্য তোমাকে সব মানুষরা এটা জিজ্ঞেস করে যে, wow, you're so nice, you're so good,
I know.
that you kept it alive inside you, all this heritage and
It wasn't
everything.
hard.
Why would it be hard?
Why is it
Because
hard?
You've been
Why
surrounded.
It's awfully. Yeah, I think I've just been lucky to be brought up and raised by a very genuine people and just around very, very humble, down-to-earth people, and we are what we are. You just own what you are and, you know, do what you do in life. That's it.
Yeah, no one takes that. But normally, Nana,
Yeah.
shop কিছু একটা, you know, এরকম কিছু থাকে. So your parents after, you know, MasterChef, what was their reaction to, you know, when you found yourself in, like, you know, আগে তো তুমি printing and packaging এ ছিলা. So when you found this whole thing, what was, like, was there any sort of যে না এখন কেন তুমি রান্না করবা, you know? আছে
Yeah,
কিন্তু
oh
অনেক
no,
আছে.
not ranna korba, because my dad is a phenomenal cook, as is my mom.
Oh,
and
you have
they-
this full support then
yeah,
from the
yeah.
get-go.
No, so it wasn't about cooking. je or ranna keno korba. No, that wasn't it. It was, we already have such a good life. Why would you want to be on television? That was it.
Yeah.
Which is a natural concern for parents. And
what was your
yeah.
answer?
I was like, dekhi ki hoy?
Why not?
I'm not, like, I don't know what. Yeah, like I said, I went into it pretty blind, I have to say. I went into it sort of like YOLO. We were in lockdown. I think everyone tried a
Oh,
few
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
true, true,
Like, it was just
true.
so like, okay, cool. You know, Mika said fill in this form. He ended up filling it in, got the producer's call, and I was just like, okay, cool. Really? Okay. Like, Jai, and I was a little bit like, yeah, they've called, I might not go. It was, you know, Etasham who sort of pushed and said, that could, like, they're calling, why don't you go check out, see what happens? And yeah, this then happened, but no one, there's no real, I don't know. You can't plan for something like this.
Yeah. So you support Bangladesh when there's a. Are you big into sports? Like,
Am I big into sports?
or
Are you going to ask if I'm into cricket?
not really cricket, but I was about to ask you, what if not the whole cricket? What if Australia plays a match with Bangladesh? I'm pretty much sure you support Bangladesh, right?
Depends what game.
Hockey.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I might support Bangladesh for hockey.
What about then football?
Like soccer?
Soccer, yeah.
I'm just trying to envision the Australian soccer team playing the Bangladesh soccer team. I'm like literally making my fantasy football team
Yeah,
in
I
my
know.
head. Yeah, I'd say maybe Australia. But no, but Bangladesh is more of a football crazy nation. So let's say Bangladesh.
It was.
Okay.
It was the. We are right now. We just only have one sport, and that's cricket.
Okay.
That's it. That's all. Okay, so cricket.
Bangladesh.
Yeah,
So I just 3 for 3. I just said Bangladesh.
great. So you're completely Bangladeshi.
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
Or maybe no, I'm not going to say
You
that.
don't
No,
say it.
no,
Don't
no,
say
no,
it,
no,
say it,
no,
say it.
no,
I want you to
no.
say it.
If you promise to cut it out.
I'll cut it out.
No, you won't. I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, come on.
You can't unsay things.
Thanks a lot for your time, Kishwar. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And
Thanks for
a lot
having
to
me.
you. Yeah.